want you to see this. Allow me to be your eyes.
Freaks of the Vine, a controversial podcast answering tough questions regarding issues of the day from a practical biblical world view.
You know, every once in a while, man, I'm driving around in my Impala with the fuzzy dice hanging down from the mirror, you know what I'm saying, man? And I listen to podcasts now, man, because nobody plays anything good on the radio. And when I listen to the podcast, I like to be educated in the ways of truth and transparency. That is why I listen to these podcasts that say, it's Freaks of the Vine. Orale, amigo.
Thank you, Cheech. That was awesome.
That's great.
So awesome to have Cheech Marin stop by for a 20-second intro.
You guys are welcome, man. Don't you worry. Hey, man, I didn't get in on that action. That's not even. That's a terrible Chong. I was thinking of Cheech.
I wasn't too far off. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Still, the greatest thing ever was when I showed Zach. Do you remember Strother Martin, the actor? He was in like westerns back in the day. Well, he made a few like guest appearances in some comedies in the 70s before he died. And one of them was the beginning of Up in Smoke, where he played Tommy Chong's dad for a minute. And it's just so good. So good. He had one of the greatest halftime speeches ever in Slapshot. And Zach and I are Strother Martin comedic fans. All right. Anyway, hi, everybody. Welcome to Freaks of the Vine. Completely off topic just because of that. We have a fun one for you tonight. So we're going to do something a little special. We are going to do our opinions on the... All right. So the assignment was the best 5 Christian metal albums of all time. And that morphed. Because Kay has doesn't have as much time behind her with it, but she is becoming a fan of it, and so she just is going to kind of do her top 5 bands.
Yeah.
Okay, Gage, you're going to do your top 5 Christian metal albums. Zach, how many did you end up coming up with?
A lot. I got 10.
I got 10 as well. So I hope that's okay, Gage. We just kind of left you in the dust there. So,
no, it's all right.
All right, good deal.
But if you have honorable mentions, throw them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think so.
Okay, I have one honorable mention. I couldn't get in the top, but all right. And these are our opinions. Opinions are like colons. Most people have them, and most of them are stinky. But these are our opinions. So
Go around smelling colons.
Smelling colons, baby. I go around smelling cologne. Bartolo Colon.
Christian Cologne.
Christian Cologne. How come you smell like colon? I don't know, man. All right. So then Gage is going to do something interesting on the graphics this time. So
yeah.
You're going to notice the video graphics that you see on this particular episode are going to be a bit different. And he's going to throw up the albums or the groups depending on where we go from there. So we drew straws, and Kay, you drew shortest straw. You get to go first.
Oh, I figure it's because I'm the shortest one here.
Shortest straw.
Yeah. Well, okay. Again, I didn't really come up with albums, but I want to throw out a couple of girl bands because I know there are girls out there that would like to.
Look at you appealing to the gender equality.
Well, yeah,
I dig this.
I'm just like, I am really not. I love music and I listen to all kinds of music, but I'm also not a person that likes to hear a woman sing. I'm just not. That's my opinion.
Okay.
But
my first wife, Stacy, did not really care typically for female singers. There's a few that she'd make an exception for.
And so I have a couple of I call girl bands. It's the women singing, and I've been listening to them for a little while, and so far I've really enjoyed it, and I just want to share that tonight.
Okay, fire away, kid.
Okay.
5 through 1.
So Lacey Strum
Oh,
is
yeah.
the singer, And
Flyleaf.
they used to be normally breaking the silence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's kind of what they've got hints of cello, violin, along with the heavy metal
Awesome.
band in the back, which is another thing that I really like and enjoy.
Good for you.
Yeah. And so then the other one I have is Fireflight. Has anybody heard of that one?
Firefly?
Nope.
It is with Dawn Michelle.
Yeah, they're going to be in that big festival down in Florida. I saw them on that list.
Okay.
So they're still around and very good.
Yeah. So, and I do like one of their albums. It's called Who We Are.
Very good.
And she goes into that and how all that came about was who you are, where you are.
This stuff is cooler. This stuff is cooler than Motley Crue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting
Yeah.
you away from Jim Croce and they all
Yeah.
things like that.
And then just the other ones that I list too is Demon Hunter, Skillet, Striper. Yeah.
All right. Good for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good picks.
Good picks because I left Striper off my top 10 albums. And that's tough to do because I still think that they set a precedence.
They
But
did.
and so they big impact.
Precedence, and they were the ones that took it for the team, so to speak.
Oh man, howdy.
Being on the front line, taking all the flack from all the other secular groups and record labels and everybody else. Yeah. Striper was attacked pretty heavily.
Yeah.
And made fun of quite a bit, but then you listen to them and they're like, yeah, they go up against anyone at the time that any other music came out.
And still. Because
Yeah,
Michael's
and
still he's got a side project with George Lynch from Dokken.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
The Yahweh song.
That's
and
beautiful.
Fallen and stuff
Yeah.
like that's come out that's been more
Recent.
modern than old
Yeah.
Striper. It's really good.
Yeah, he's got pipes on him. He can still sing. So
Skillet
good
is
stuff.
a band that has changed dramatically
Yeah.
over the
They had a
years.
big impact on you as a young man.
Yeah. Yeah, they are I don't even think originally band member wise there's anyone original no, that might be
John, the
one
founder,
okay.
guitar and lead singer.
Yeah,
He's the
but
only
they
one
have
still
gone
left.
through turnover, but they hit it big for a few years. with
They
that-
sure did.
with that one album that came out. You're gonna be cursing at me, yelling at me. It's this one. I just totally vacated my brain, but it's the one that made it to 98 or 99. The Rock. I say that because it's the local local affiliated Kansas City station of the modern rock, and it when you get a band from your childhood that was a Christian band, now all of a sudden making it in the mainstream, and it sounds nothing like, but it's still the same band. It's kind of a mind trip.
It is.
Like,
It
it's
is.
Skillet, but it's not Skillet, but it is Skillet.
Skillet and POD had an ability to cross over while maintaining, I don't care what anybody says, still a level of integrity.
Yeah, POD completely changed their sound
They did.
after Testify.
Yeah.
It was Satellite into Testify, and then the Payable on Death album that came out. That was just like completely different.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah,
All right. Thank you, Kay.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Well,
contributing, and thank you for
I-
starting to morph over into real music.
I do have a question.
You got it.
I ran across this as what are the Dove Awards? Because when I'm looking at a lot of these, I'm seeing where they win
Yeah.
a Dove Award. What is a Dove Award?
The Dove Award is basically the Christian equivalent to the Grammys.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got a lot of, and it's mainly contemporary and contemporary music and soul, R&B, soul, things like that. But they do have metal categories and rock categories, and they have for a number of years since at least the early '90s, because Tourniquet pretty well kept running away with Dove Awards every year, and then it just kind of transitioned to the best bands of those times. So.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, Gage, your turn. Top 5 Christian metal albums for Mr. Gage.
All right. I cheated a little bit.
what'd you do?
So, number 5, I just put Diamonds to Dust because all their stuff is really good.
amazing.
Ever since I started listening to it, all of it's so good.
Yeah,
But a lot of the songs I like are singles, and they're not on albums yet.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. You're right.
I had to cheat a little.
They had a new a song drop on Friday.
Yeah.
with another band that they co-did one, and
Oh, cool.
I didn't even hear it yet. I just saw it this evening.
Go check that out.
Yeah.
So I cheated a little.
Well, in Diamonds to Dust, we really appreciated Barry doing an
Yeah,
interview
that
with
was
us.
awesome.
Very awesome
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
And
it's so
since,
cool.
Since that introduction with his, you guys are hooked too. I mean,
can't
they're
stop listening to him.
they're great.
It's good.
All right,
Number
4.
Number 4, I put The God Machine by Phineas.
Phineas.
Yeah, I love those guys. It's just heavy and I don't know. Like high school was a weird time for me, and
For us all, brother.
yeah, right.
No. I get it. Like, I
Yeah.
can relate to that statement.
Oh
100%.
yeah. And then so I was listening to more secular stuff, and then trying to find something just as heavy, and these guys popped up, and they just fit that, and it was I just felt at home with these guys, and then they were talking about God. And I'm like, ooh, that's
Makes it
awesome.
even better.
Yeah, right. Yeah. My next one, I wasn't sure if I should put it, but I did anyways. It's They're Only Chasing Safety by Under Oath. They're not a Christian band anymore,
Correct. But they started.
but they started out as, and that was my first, like, I remember seeing them on TV, and that was my first introduction to metal music, and I was like, oh, it blew me away, like, just hearing that, and that was the first one, and I don't know, just set the tone after that.
That's a good call out, man. Good for you.
Under Oath was so it's like, as Christians, we listen to a lot of secular bands.
Yep.
But Under Oath was one of those Christian bands that all the secular kids listen to.
Yeah, it really was.
They just
really
were.
was.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And then Messengers by August Burns Red.
Son of a gun.
You have to-
Yeah.
I was wondering if we were going to have any
Dude, that
crossovers.
Yeah.
Messengers.
Messengers
though.
was so good.
Yep.
I thought about putting what's it? Constellation.
Constellations was, yeah.
I thought about putting that one, but Messengers was first time hearing August Burns Red, and all their songs just like at the time it just hit me like that's what I needed to hear, and I remember this Back Burner,
Yeah.
and that was just like how I felt about my faith, where I just put it on the back burner, and they're just talking about how I feel about it. And I'm like, man, I gotta
You felt
really figure this
convicted.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
The song Composure
Composure was another one.
off of that one, man.
I'm like,
it just, as soon as it
come on, man.
hits, it hits from the beginning.
Yeah.
And yeah, Composure's amazing.
That's awesome.
And then my last one was With Roots Above and Branches Below by The Devil Wears Prada. I took another one too.
No, actually, that was an honorable mention.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, yep.
That whole album was it was just so heavy. Well, it wasn't as heavy as some of the other guys, but it was just so fun to listen to. And
Yes. Because they had song titles.
oh, they were
Like,
the craziest stuff.
You remember what they were? I hate buffering.
Yeah, like Danger Wild Man,
Assistant
just-
to the regional manager.
Yeah.
Like, these are titles of the songs.
It was weird. I mean, and their older stuff was like HTML rules, dude. So they were like, who cares?
Yeah, they were on when like Pop Goes Metal.
Yeah,
or something
they
like
did,
that. When those
Still Flies.
still
Yeah.
fly, yes, pimped out
I love
with my
that
Gucci
song.
suit,
Yeah.
and it's metal rap, and they actually
so
did a
funny.
really good job with it.
Yeah. But that one, that's what I introduced my brother into
Oh,
metal
nice.
music was that album. And he was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
That's
So,
awesome, dude.
That one, I'm like, a little sentimental value. But
Yeah.
I think-
And the name
I
of the
think
album one more
songs are
time is what? Because it's lengthy.
Yeah, they were all pretty. With Roots Above and Branches Below.
With Roots Above and Branches Below. Yeah.
That's an intriguing title.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that.
The album art is awesome.
Oh, it really is.
It's one of the coolest. It's like a nightscape tree or something. Yeah, it's really cool.
Well,
You want to save yourself for last?
I could.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Then we'll segue to Mr.
All
Zach.
right. These aren't necessarily like 10 to 1.
Okay,
Okay.
fair.
But I'll try to put them in that order to funnel it to like the best. So I'll start with the ones that have already been named. Excuse me. And the first one would have been August Burns Red, Messengers. Messengers was, like we're talking about Under Oath, being a Christian band that all the secular kids listen to.
Yep.
August Burns Red was the same way. with As I Lay Dying, All That Remains.
Oh, that's As I Lay. I think it was As I
Yeah,
Lay
it is.
Dying.
Yep,
Yeah.
As I Lay Dying.
I remember a band
Christian
member,
band.
like we were in the tuba section. Mm-hmm. He wasn't Christian, but he played all their stuff all of the time, and I'm like, man, you got to tell me who these are. And,
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hilarious. But yeah, so to go along with those guys, August Burns Red fit right in. Of course, they
Yeah.
all start with the letter A.
right.
But yeah, with Messengers being the introduction to the band, Leveler what came out. So it was like 2-year increments where they did Messengers, and then Constellations,
And then,
Leveler,
yeah,
and then Rescue and Restore. And the Rescue and Restore is the one that holds that special place because that's the one that came out. And right when my mom got diagnosed with leukemia, I left one day, went to Best Buy when you still went to go look for music.
right.
And it was right there on, in cap front display. And it had this cool like artwork, which is the first thing that caught my eye. And then I was like, no way, that's August Burns Red's new one. So I picked it up. Anyway, that one actually ended up using the lyrics to Beauty and Tragedy to my mom's eulogy. Amazing album. It's funny because they actually dubbed that their emotional middle child.
Which I thought was such a great...
Because it is. Like, it's very, like, it's not emo, but it's very, like, the heart is on the sleeve.
Yeah,
In-
and you
in
can
that
tell
album.
by the how different their music is and like melodic.
Yeah.
and then
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, so that one, I don't know, there's like almost there to hold this discography, but
yeah,
they're amazing.
They are.
So ABR, can't go wrong. After that, go with one that I found when I was a freshman in high school, and it kind of got me, and it was Demon Hunters, The Triptych.
oh yeah.
Soldier song, with the marching snare, because I was a marching band at the time, so I'm hearing like the marching snare go along with this. Like, I was just sold, and shared my buddies as well. They all liked them, and then just saw them in concert last spring. So they're still going strong. They've really changed it up a lot. Like they do a lot of like melodic, non-metal, quote unquote stuff. But when they get down to it, they're
Yeah.
awesome. So Demon Hunters, The Triptych. After that, I'd go with POD's Fundamental Elements of Southtown.
Great choice.
Yeah, it's not necessarily metal, but it's new metal.
No, it still falls under the metal category.
Right. And it's
but people who like rock music would like
it
the
took,
fundamental elements of Southtown.
it wrapped in the urban aspect
Yep.
of culture in with metal music.
Yes, it did.
So those of us who got wrapped up in the urban society and culture got this metal version of it, and we're like, okay, this is freaking awesome. I mean, these guys are Mexicans from San Diego, California, and they're making freaking hardcore music.
3 Mexicans and 1 brother.
Yeah, they absolutely nailed it. Tribal is one of the most underrated songs ever.
Yep.
On that, if you've never heard it, listen to it. It's incredible. The close second is Satellite. I loved Satellite with Boom, Youth of the Nation, which was such a unique song when it came out.
Satellite was the best-selling album for Atlantic Records the year it came out, and that was the year that 9/11 happened. So it came out right around 9/11.
Yeah.
So I want to say, so that would have been actually 2002 was the best-selling album for Atlantic Records was Satellite
Wow.
by a Christian metal band.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, Satellite's
Start to finish, that album's incredible.
it really is.
Yeah, go. You'd actually really totally dig it.
It's got a bluish color to it with them all standing on. Yeah, listen to POD Satellite.
It's got the metal.
So good.
It's the new metal, but there's also a
radio friendly element to it.
Yes.
To where it's just
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah.
that doesn't make it lighten the loafers, but it does make it palatable for people who aren't typically used to metal.
Yeah.
Your mom couldn't stop listening to that album.
No, and my mom couldn't either.
Yeah, see, that's hilarious.
She hates me. She just cannot
But
stand the other
POD
music.
Satellite appealed
She's
to
like, I love it.
everybody.
Yeah.
It really was. Without going,
You would definitely like it.
Yep.
Okay,
All right.
for sure.
I will listen to it.
Good. Let us know next time how you like it.
I will.
All right, moving on. After that, I'm going to throw in Impending Doom's Baptized in Filth. I had found Impending Doom. The Sun Is Mine, I believe, was the first one. Of course, they had been around before that. Their first album was Nailed Dead Risen, and they're like grindcore, like, but it's like Cannibal Corpse-ish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then a couple more albums, but in 2012, when they came out with Baptized in Filth with that first song, Murderer, I was just like, it freaking blew my socks off.
But I remember Murderer, the video was being played nonstop in Hot Topic nationwide, because Hot Topic was advertising that album. They were actually endorsing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Hot Topic endorsed that album, that recording, and so they had their shirts in stock and the CD and stuff in stock.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you'd go in and you'd actually see, and that's probably one of the greatest metal songs ever written, secular or Christian.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, it's
Every time I hear it, it's like "Fly from the Inside" by
Shinedown.
Shinedown. Like hair stands in the back of my neck when I hear "Murderer." You know, it's just like, oh man, I can just feel the lyrics to that song.
Yeah, Wretched and Godless came out. Sin and something else, maybe. Maybe not. Anyway, Baptized in Filth was the one. Yeah, for sure. But Impending Doom, can't go wrong. After that, go with Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, their third album. It's just called 3. They named all their albums 1, 2, and 3. Maylene is their former members of Under Oath, the remained Christian members after Under Oath split.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the guys that remained in their faith founded Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, and they are Southern metal.
Okay, I was like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah,
and the Sons of Disaster.
They are different in the best way possible.
Yep, it's really good.
Yes, like they'll incorporate banjos.
Yeah, it was just that banjo.
It is a cross between Metallica and Leonard Skinner. But it works.
It's good.
And I like both those bands too.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
We literally handed her a pen.
Yeah.
Write this down. And then POD Satellite.
I just got that.
Okay, got it.
That one.
All right, how many is that? 5 left. And I'm going to go now for the last 5, kind of the ones that childhood, thanks to my dad being a radio station DJ, that were implemented into me at a young age to get me to love music.
I can't wait to hear this.
I'm going to snag this from you because it's stapled on me, and that's Bride, Snakes in the Playground. It has to be mentioned, whether it's by you or I. Yeah. I mean, for crying out loud, I think I'm 3 years old on video camera lip singing a Scream to one of their songs. It's just, mom and dad loved listening to Bride, and as a kid, as a child, that just brings me back.
Psychedelic Super Jesus.
Yep.
There's a song on that album that blew away people in the secular market.
Yeah.
His vocals, incredible,
are very reminiscent of a prime Steven Tyler.
Early prime Steven Tyler.
Yes.
But with more ability to make it metal instead of just rock.
Right, but I'm talking like his ad lib ability.
Good point.
That was my
that's
comparison.
I see where you're coming
but
from.
his vocal style is more metal for sure. But he does ad lib variations like a David Lee Roth would do, and it works. Sick. It's just really good stuff. So yeah, okay. There's Bride.
Okay.
The one after that, I guess this one really isn't childhood, but this band is from childhood. But this album came out later, but it has to. Ghost Thief by Living Sacrifice.
Yep.
Living Sacrifice has been doing it since the 80s. They are still around. They are still incredible, and they are metal to the core in all sense of the word, and they just keep doing it, man. Mm-hmm. But Ghost Thief, Brian Clark from Demon Hunter guest vocals on it. A few other guys do make guest appearance on that album, but it's impeccable, start to finish. Never get tired of it.
Impeccable.
Never get, seriously, a lot of stuff you get, it just becomes, I don't know, ear fatigue is the best way I can describe it. Like, it just kind of just muddles after a while. You put on Ghost Thief, And for the style of music, it shouldn't last as long as it has. It's incredible. So
This year, it is 11 years old. It's their last
and I've
studio
listened
album.
to it all 11 years. Yeah, it's amazing.
Agree.
All right, narrowing it down to 3. Number 3, Project 86, Truthless Heroes. Not necessarily metal,
A form of.
definitely a form of, but they're more like hard rock. But it has an impact on me because I would be a kid listening to dad's music, and this thing would always go on. So one day I was like, Dad, I need some good Christian music. So I snagged Truthless Heroes out of the CD cabinet, put it in my red CD player that I got from Kmart, and took it to middle school. And that thing didn't leave my my CD player for months. Like, that was my comfort zone.
Have you ever listened to that one?
It's got a picture of a TV on it, like an
Okay.
old school box TV. It's like green, red, white, and it's just Truthless Heroes. Amazing.
Molotov on that one?
No,
No,
Molotov
no.
came way later.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Truthless
Rival
Heroes.
Factions.
That's
is
right.
what- yeah.
Yeah.
Project 86, though, just released a 2-part compilation project, no pun intended, Omni 1 and Omni Part 2. Mm-hmm. Oh, so this
It
band...
is so. I'll let you tell it.
I will. Thank you. So I started off by saying Project 86 wasn't metal in a sense. So they started hard rock with an edge. Cool little tidbit, by the way. Linkin Park's guitar player, bass player, when they were huge, like they hit it with Hybrid Theory. They're on every late night show, all this stuff. One of their shows he's playing, the guy from Linkin Park's wearing a Project 86 t-shirt.
It's in their poster.
Yeah, it was in the poster that got printed out.
Yep.
That they sold at Walmart.
And it was the only band shirt on any of the guys. Everybody's wearing like this one guy's wearing like
flannel,
a plaid, right?
all that stuff.
One dude has, and it was like a billboard. It stuck out. So the biggest band in the world for a while was Linkin Park.
And a dude in the band is wearing a Project
86
shirt.
shirt. So they got listens
Yeah,
to.
absolutely.
So it's the best thing that could have happened.
They've always had an edge. Kind of lightened up a little bit. Did a little experimental. I call it experimental because it's different. It's called Fall Goliath Falls. The name of the song on it. It's the World War II plane. Totally blanked it. Should have wrote it down. Anyway, they didn't get stagnant, but they, one album here and there, and then they come out with Omni, and the singer decides to all of a sudden figure out how to be Cookie Monster. And changes his vocal style to be brutal. You don't see bands go from hard rock to hardcore metal. You see hardcore metal bands get lighter. Mm-hmm. Not the other way around. These guys got heavier.
And this is their au
As
revoir.
Yes,
this is their final
send-off. And
Yep.
they go out with a flipping bang. So Project 86, Omni 1, Omni 2 is the new stuff, but Truthless Heroes was the album that I picked that stood out. Okay, final 2. Number 2 would be Detritus if but for one. That one
Couldn't disagree with you at all.
It's got Masquerade Masquerade's the song that starts it off, and then when you listen to that 2.5 minute just acoustic guitar churn electric madness, it just sucks you in, and you're on a freaking Australian metal ride.
I thought they were Australian. They're actually British.
Oh, I thought they were Aussie.
No, I told you wrong. One day we were discussing it, so my
they're
apologies.
British.
They're British.
Okay, well, I stand corrected as well. But they did have one of the coolest songs ever written by any band in the history of music called Sailor's Farewell. It's a pirate song.
Skipper, where are we going?
Absolute
place, is he?
It's done to this like galloping drum beat in the back, and it's amazing.
It's a pirate singing over a metal song. It is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yeah.
And then you throw
You're
in
welcome.
a 2-minute song where he's praying. Feel.
Oh, yeah, it's so beautiful. It just
It
tears your heart out.
Tears your heart out because anybody relates to it when you listen to it. I'm not going to repeat it. If you want to hear it, listen
Yeah,
to
I'll play it for you. It's amazing. Okay.
So Detritus, Detritus, if but for one. And number 1,
Oh.
round it out. I think you already know this. Tourniquet's Vanishing Lessons.
Love it.
I do like that album.
That one, that just takes me into hanging out at the radio station.
I thought it was really interesting to hear when you think about Tourniquet because Vanishing Lessons was the first. They were on Metal Blade with distribution on Intense Records in the Christian market because Metal Blade didn't carry into the Christian markets, and that's their fourth album, and it was the first one where Metal Blade decided not to carry it. It was just not their style anymore. They changed their style on that album. They changed their style on every album, but that one stood way apart. And Metal Blade said no, thank you. And ironically, it's their best-selling album. It's their most recognized. But that's a great one.
Yep. Yeah, that one's
when you brought
amazing.
it up. I'm trying to think why you brought it up on a podcast at some point. We did a list of underrated or. I can't remember
the most underrated Christian.
And you brought him up, and I was like, I'll check that out. And I like that album.
Tourniquet is no more because the drummer Ted Kirkpatrick died 2 years ago.
Yeah.
However, it was very sudden and was from cancer. It was a bad deal. But the original
much shocking.
Yeah, the original lineup were 5 guys, and 3 of them are in another band called Flood, and they're coming to Mortal Fest when I go back there, and it's actually called Stop the Bleeding, a Tourniquet tribute. So
that'll be awesome.
It's a Tourniquet tribute with guys from Tourniquet and the drummer from Extol. Like he's gonna not nail the parts for Ted Kirkpatrick.
Yeah.
So
didn't put Extol on my list because I never really got too much into them.
I get it.
It doesn't mean that they're not good. They're just different.
Yeah, they are definitely different. All right. Zach, excellent list. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
with us.
hopefully if you haven't heard any of those, you investigate for yourself, you like as well.
I went a little different than I thought I was going to do. I really had to think this one out for the last couple of weeks, but I'm going to honorable mention, Flood, Polarized from 2022. That's the guys from Tourniquet, Once Upon a Time. That album is incredible. And it's timeless. So if you'd like to look at that, but you have to buy the album. It's not on Spotify. It may be on Apple or something. And the other one that I didn't bring up or add to my top 10 list that I just like to honorable mention is Time Is to Dust new album. It is fantastic.
Thank you. They're in all my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I'm glad
they're so good.
I'm glad they got so much mention tonight, but they are a lot better than.
Yeah. What I like is the Spotify has where you can blend the songs.
Mm-hmm.
I will shuffle play and they'll still work.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that, but when you do it to their albums, it just flows so well.
That's crazy cool. Yeah.
Soul Embraced is another band that you need to look up as well.
Okay, I'm check them out.
Yeah. Okay.
Do it.
Number 10, Mortifications and Vision Evangeline. That came out in 96. Mortification started off grindcore. It scared me to death in 1989 when I first heard it, and I wasn't prepared for that. And so a couple albums later, they start to the lead singer he's a bass player too, begins to sing. But with a growl. Instead of doing the deathcore stuff, he started singing. And Envision Evangeline was probably one of Noah was a knower. Is on that. Peace in the Galaxy. Just some of their best stuff is on that album, and I loved it. Number 9 for me, Living Sacrifice, Ghost Thief.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah, so 2013. That's their last studio album. They still get together and do shows, but they haven't been in the studio for a while. Blows me away. And they have a lot of great stuff, but Ghost Thief is probably is to me their best.
Gage, do you remember the game Killing Floor 2?
Killing zombies.
Yeah.
And mutated monsters and stuff.
It was really kind of hard.
It was. It totally came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Kind of caught the video game world by storm. But there was a catch to this game that the soundtrack was done by all Christian metal artists.
Oh, I did not know that.
Or not, maybe not all Christian metal, but it was a metal soundtrack.
Yeah.
But you've got Demon Hunter, Living Sacrifice, Impending Doom. I think even Phineas might have been on there.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
and
Bruce
absolute-
Fitzhugh, the lead singer of Living Sacrifice, does another song on it as a solo artist.
Yeah,
It's all
Huh.
Christian.
yeah. There's if you look at the Killing Floor 2 soundtrack
On
there's
Spotify.
a lot of Christian metal
Huh.
bands that
Yeah,
were
you'll-
on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, Living Sacrifice. I forgot to. Yep.
All right, number 8 for me, Saving Grace. The King is Coming. They had a few albums. Their last one came out like in 2015, I believe. King is Coming is from 2011. Do yourself a favor and listen to that album.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
That's so funny how you instilled my musical taste into me, and then I show you all of these bands, and a lot of them you're like, oh, cool, you're right.
Yep.
And then there's some that stick.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is one of them.
So
I
funny.
didn't even put them on my list, and it makes my dad's top 10. That's so cool.
I have to, I'm very particular. You know, I just can't listen to somebody. I'm not a big fan of August Burns Red's singer. His phrasing
understand.
style is not my thing.
I think Jake Lures is one of the best.
and I get that.
And yeah,
And I respect that. It's not me.
understand.
So I am really particular. So any band that I say, I will tell you that I do listen to them. Number 7, and not because he's become a friend of ours. I reached out to him because of this album, and it's Pantocrator's Marching Out of Babylon 2021.
Yeah.
I reached out to Carl and just asked him because I was so in love with this record.
Shout out Carl.
Yeah.
And Carl responded, and then he's been on now twice with us, and he's just a good dude, and
Yes.
he has great love for God and for Christ and the essential doctrines, and he. But I love Marching Out of Babylon is probably one of the coolest albums, and they're from Sweden, so it's a different culture, and I think that's really awesome. Number 6 for me, I know it all dropped all the way to 6, but Vanishing Lessons from Tourniquet.
It has to be.
It has to be up there, and yeah, there's just that set of. I remember my brother-in-law came over and he listened to the cassette of that because he was like the sisters were talking and he goes, "So what's this?" And I said, "Vanishing Lessons," and he had the CD. It was a CD, and he pressed play, put the headphones on, and after one song, he went 4 or 5 songs before she was ready to go. But he didn't take his headphones off. He was like, "That's incredible."
Victor Macias's bass tone is how bass should sound in metal.
Yes.
It's if Injustice for All had that bass on it, it'd be a masterpiece.
Yes, it would.
That's telling you, like his bass playing on that is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's all amazing. The guitar work, Ted Kirkpatrick's drumming, who would go to the rainforest and meditate and pray and get isolated to nature and would come back, and his influence for the next album was what he experienced.
Wow.
He was so creative in the most amazing
He's
ways.
a different cat.
Yeah, he's very different. Huge animal advocate, vegan to the extreme. Like wouldn't eat meat. Came out with an album with like a bunch of guest guys on it. The dude from For Today, Matty. Bleh.
I know who you're talking about, but anyway.
Yeah, does a song called "The Slave Ring." It's about dog abuse.
Oh, it's incredible.
Awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Their first album for Tourniquet had a song on it called Ark of Suffering.
Yeah.
And it was about how we don't take care of animals and we're supposed to. And it was their sort of call sign. It got played on MTV at the time on, like the Metal Headbangers Ball.
so that's why I bring up Vanishing Lessons
But
so
that was
much is because it's a staple.
It is. Number 5, Precious Death If You Must, 1994. That is that one for me just sealed the deal for me where Christian metal was on top of their game. And our interview with Christopher Scott, the lead singer, who's now a pastor, has 6 children. He's got a life, and they're still working on some new music, and hopefully they get to put it out sometime soon. But that has our most views of any interview.
Yeah.
People found out we were interviewing Christopher Scott, and he does not do interviews, and he did it with us. And he was like compliment from one pastor to another.
Yeah.
And
that's what
it was a
That's
blast.
awesome.
That's what I liked was, you guys talked about music, but then it was just 2 pastors talking after a while, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty great.
Yep.
Taught some theology, and it was cool.
Yeah. But doing the editing for that and finding those clips, I really liked, how he'd just stop, finish that song, and bust out his Bible, and he's like, "We're doing a lesson right now. Y'all are gonna hear it, and then we'll keep going after."
Yeah.
It. He's like, "This is for
unashamed of his faith.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Number 4, Deliverance, of course, is going to make it. Not the album you think, though. Hear What I Say, 2013. That's the only album that's not on Spotify. You have to go to YouTube to find it.
Right.
And it is, from start to finish, their best. It's the most. Yeah, I've got a picture of it on the wall. It is their best start to finish album. You know how much I love River Disturbance.
That's why I'm like, what?
But
River
to me-
Disturbances.
But to me, River Disturbance isn't as metal as Hear What I Say.
Understand.
And so River Disturbance will be my all-time, one of my favorite albums, period. And the one before it, Learn.
I don't think I've listened to that one much.
At 1990, they had this whole... They went away from thrash. I didn't care for the early stuff as much because I was so tired of thrash by the time I listened to them.
Yeah.
I'd been listening to thrash since Exodus and Megadeth and Metallica and Slayer, all in the 83, 84, and I just, by the time I got there, I was like, I'm so done with thrash. It's all white noise. And they came out with this album and it was just not like anything else. It was just great, and I liked them. But Hear What I Say, if you ever get a chance to listen to that. Number 3, Impending Doom, The Sin and Doom Volume 2.
The Sin and Doom. Thank you. Yes.
That's their last one. They're now coming out with a new one. Singles are dropping from it.
Correct, but they are no longer on a record label.
So that's why they're doing it that way.
They are self-producing it.
Okay. Well, The Sin and Doom Volume 2 is an incredible album start to finish. And it's just... Yeah, it'll rip it'll rip the paint off your house and give your family a permanent orange afro. Let me tell you.
But why do you like Impending Doom, but not August Burns Red?
Right?
What's up with that?
It's just the way I love how Brooks sings.
Okay.
And no, it's not that it's not that I don't like August Burns Red. I don't care for their singer as much as other people do.
But is it like easier for you to understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Impending Doom. I can make out what Brooks is saying, and it just resonates. I can make out what the lead singer of August Burns Red. I'm not discounting them being awesome.
No.
They're just not for me.
I was just like, that was a pretty big shock. Impending Doom on your list.
Oh, I love them.
I just can't see it from...
Yeah. They're great.
Funny.
Number 2, Detritus, If But For One. Zach mentioned that on his top. I made that kid listen, and my daughter listen to If But For One. I'd never heard an album like it, never will. There will never be a band that captures what they did. I'd never heard a group play thrash metal, doom metal, rock, soft-hearted stuff all in one, and it works from start to finish. They were this doom metal song
With the jazz
If
piano
But For
solo.
One. It gets done, and then they go to this sort of like this outro, and it's all piano. It's a piano jam
amazing.
all the way out, and you're like,
They have another one where there's a
saxophone solo instead of a guitar
in
solo. All
the
of a
middle.
sudden,
So I think August Burns Red pulled a lot of influence from in the fact that like they'll do like salsa.
Yeah,
Like this Latin salsa breakdown.
Yeah.
I can't see how they wouldn't have.
Just because they totally, Detritus was the first ones to go, we're going to just do it.
When we did our most underrated bands, I think I mentioned Detritus, and one thing about that album that blew me away was it wasn't available before streaming was available, and they reprinted our 2 albums.
Yeah, we had to go on eBay to get it.
Yeah, and they have a 3rd album that came out 2.5 years ago, and it's
Showed
great.
up for Christmas a few years ago.
Yeah, you did. Thank you. And then once they came
and then
out,
2 years later, it's on Spotify.
yeah. Well, but I still having the CDs.
Yeah, but we
is
still
great.
have them.
But I had to get on eBay. And you could find an album for $6, a CD, right? Oh, I find If But For One, and it sells for $107 for a CD.
Wow.
Used. And I bid like $20, and then it just kept going. And these like multiple people were bidding.
This was probably 2006, 2007.
Yep.
And because I remember this.
This is when we were at the
Very
old
well.
house before
Yep.
we moved,
Yeah,
and I
'cause
was
we're on
like, there.
eBay.
I told him, I was like, there's no way I could pay that much money for an album. My wife would have killed me.
I was going to say, okay, all right. Thank you for putting that, because I remember you were sitting there, and you looked at me with these intent eyes, and you said,
I'm going to click it.
I'm about to spend $108 on a CD, but your mom would effing kill me.
Yep. And so I just backed on out, and it sold for 117. And but now I have it on Spotify, and I have the CD, and I still have my cassette, so we're good.
Yes.
But for one, detritus, Joe, check that out. All right, number one, you're gonna laugh at me. Leader Dogs for the Blind, Lemonade.
I'm not laughing at you at all.
That is the greatest metal album ever written, ever made, and it is out of print, and you cannot find it. Tyler Perry is still on Spotify. He has some other stuff that he does. It's nothing like this one album. It was one and done, and it was the best industrial Christian metal album ever written. And they had one album, and they were done.
And there was how many people?
One guy, with one guy that came in and sang. And he had one other guy do a couple drum tracks, and that was it, a buddy of his. And then he sang, the main guy sang one song, and it's about the birth of his kid. And it starts off, it's called Sprout. His kid was in the belly, in his wife's womb, and all of a sudden you hear this. It starts off with one of the wind-up like carousel things. What do you call those? They're not a carousel. They're called something else. Mobile. The mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah. It winds up like the mobile, like the same one that the kids
just
had.
get done listening to this amazing metal album, and in the last track on this album, you hear this baby noise, like toys, and then
he starts to sing the song, and it's just him and
very
this
chill,
like really
very low,
this
laid back.
clean guitar, and he starts singing about this kid that's going to be.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's singing the song, you hear this sort of noise come up in the background, and it gets louder and louder, and it's his baby's heartbeat on the monitor. So by the time the song ends, he stops, and it just keeps going.
Cool.
It is so, like, when you hear it, you're like, what did I just listen to? And it was nothing like that had been done before. And that thing
the fact that it's
slaps today.
The fact that it's not a band.
I know.
I mean, I'm not discounting. It is a band, one-man band with guest stars, but this one guy gets this idea and creates a masterpiece. It's the album cover is like a zoomed-in shot of a dog with a yellow ball in his mouth, and it's just Leader Dogs for the Blind. Lemonade is the name of the album.
Yes, it is, and he's got lemonade in his mouth.
Yes. Yeah.
So you know what? It's just fun to go through, and thank you for letting us be able to carry on about this for a while. But I think whenever we're sharing music, it's always interesting to hear what's been the best.
Yeah.
And share with us your favorite Christian metal bands and albums. You don't have to certainly agree. And if we feel like we've just dastardly deeded you and left off something that you know is important, email us at.
I have real quick an honorable mention. They're not metal, but they're rock. I threw them in here because they're different, and because we're doing Christian rock bands, I want to bring up this band because they do a cover of "All Fly Away," and the band is Flatfoot 56.
Oh yeah,
Flatfoot, one word, and then 5-6. They're basically a Christian Dropkick Murphys. It's like Celtic Irish rock.
Yeah, it's
Celtic
really good.
Irish punk rock.
It's really good.
Yeah. But quick 2.5, 3-minute long songs, and just good to listen to.
If you, and when you played them for me, I was blown away. Flatfoot 56.
It's not everyone's cup of tea.
Nope.
Not everybody likes the style.
There's always something out there for everybody.
But absolutely. Okay.
All right. If you want to send us your top list or top bands or songs or an album that we missed,
tell us how stupid ours is.
Yeah, you can email
I don't
us.
care what they think.
Oh, yeah. Actually, don't tell us. You can email us at freaksofthevine@gmail.com.
Thank you. Okay. Well, that's it for this episode of Freaks of the Vine, and we appreciate you joining us, and hopefully you got some things to go back and check out and listen to. And Kay, you've got a list of songs and bands over there.
Well, yeah, and I'll probably go back and listen to this podcast.
I'm so glad
To write
that you
down.
brought up Lacey Sturm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Yeah, and her solo stuff, Rot. I think she has a song. It's just the Lacey Sturm, Rot. Wonderful song.
Yeah.
And it's just a cry out of the world always telling you that you're never going to be good enough, but you are.
Flyleaf is a phenomenal band.
Flyleaf was big.
They were.
They hit it big for what they were on. Not Guitar Hero, the other one, Rock Band.
Yeah, Christian band.
Because my buddy Cameron was like, "I'm here. You're gonna sing this song. What song are we playing? Turn around. What song are we playing? Turn around. You're not gonna look. Okay, surprise. All Around You, or All Around Me by Flyleaf. Like, really? I'm gonna have to freaking sing. I was like, oh my god, and they're just busting up laughing. Like, yeah, you guys are jerks.
That's hilarious.
Yes. Anyway,
Well-
that was an awesome discussion, guys.
It was. Hopefully, we gave some people some insight to go check out. And I will give this plug that Immortal Fest is coming up in end of July, which I'll be heading to, and I'm really excited. And it's a lot of older bands, and there's some newer ones though too. But I just hope that these kind of festivals will continue to gain steam, and more people will go. And
Well,
then
now
means-
that we're not, 6 feet safe,
yeah.
these things are becoming more prominent.
Yeah, we're not
Getting festivals. to
We're
go
not.
again.
We're not going to let shut down for anything anymore. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, as always, we appreciate you joining us on Freaks of the Vine, and we'll be praying for you too. Let us know how we can do that. So just email us. Gage checks out the email, and we'll definitely pray for any prayer requests you have. Until the next time, and the next Freaks of the Vine, for Zach, for Kay, for Gage, I'm Patrick, and we are out late.